All right. Hello, everybody. Sorry, we had a little tech glitch, so we're just getting everyone on board. Great to have you here. Randy is here, and she'll be with us in just a second. Hello, everybody. Yay, yay, yay. I'm going to put on a poll. So if you can fill that out, that gives us a sense of where everybody's at on their voiceover journey so we can answer the questions appropriately. So you should see that right now. Get a sense of where everyone's at. And if you'd like to say hi in the chat and tell us where you're calling from, that's always a good thing. Tim's here from Seattle. Yay! Angela's here from snowy New York. Jasmine's here from London. How awesome. More snow from Charles. Yay, look at
how I don't miss the snow.
Said the man from Buffalo. Is it a million feet of snow in Buffalo?
Probably not. I think it's worse in New Jersey and
like it's more south. Yeah. All right. Chicago, represent. Awesome. Janet. Hey. Cool. Matt's here. Awesome. Jeffrey, great. Cool. Well, we're just Randy had to check one thing, so she'll be right back with us. So how this works, guys. So hi everyone, I'm Tish Hicks. I'm the Master Sensei of the VO Dojo here in Burbank, California. And this is our monthly free Q&A webinar called Ask the Sensei. So each month, myself and our Techno Sensei, Dan Lenard, are joined by an esteemed colleague of ours from the voiceover world, and we are here to answer your questions. So really, there she is. That really ask.
Oh, sorry.
And no worries. Hey, Randy.
Come on, Randy. Good boy.
She has the most beautiful dogs in the world. And a booth big enough for a Great Dane. That's awesome.
He's my rescue. He just a year. Harley the Harlequin.
Oh, pretty. Yay. Well, I was just talking about what we're up to, Randy. So excited that you're here.
Wow.
So let's see. We have a little poll, Randy, for that you should be able to see.
Yes, I see that. Okay, that's for me.
Well, it's for all of us to just know what level people are asking questions from, so that we can answer them at that level, which is great. We've got people from literally all over the world, so that's great.
All right, he's letting me know he's got to go. You be quiet if I let you out. Go. Okay.
Dogs and toddlers, yay!
I'm so sorry, Dan. You never get those your VOBS shows off late because of.
Oh, are you kidding? It's constantly,
No way.
You say every week it's Apollo 13.
Thank you. And I want to thank everyone that's here. I really appreciate your time, and I don't mean to slow down anything, but I think we're going to roll now.
We're going to roll, and it's always good. It always works out. So so here's how we're going to roll. I'm going to introduce, you guys know me. I'm going to have Dan introduce himself. We're going to have Randy share a little bit about what she's up to and all the amazing things that she is in the voiceover community. And this is a Q&A. So the part of it is your questions. So you can start putting those into the Q&A box, the two little cartoon bubbles down there, and that's where we'll be taking your questions from. So start putting them in, because we'll start taking them in order, and then sort of keep an eye on ones that go together and alternate tech questions and general voiceover questions. So Dan, introduce yourself. Oh, and I'm sorry, I also forgot to introduce our dojo team who's here. Diana Suko is here. She's our talent support, and dojo admin Joshua is here. So if you need anything in the background, they are both here to support you. So that's who those other people are. Dan, introduce yourself. What are you up to?
Oh, thank you, Tish. Great to see everybody here. Nice crowd from all over the place. I'm Dan Lenard. I am the home studio master. There's a way to do a home voiceover studio, and then there's the way everybody says you're supposed to do it. Don't listen to any of them. It's a very specific thing. If you have any questions about home voiceover studios or equipment or some technical issue of some sort, throw it in the chat and or into the Q&A, and I'll be happy to answer that. And that's about it. And make sure you watch Voiceover Body Shop all week.
Yeah. And he's disappeared. Yeah. So great.
So much incredible information on VOBS. It's really astounding, the guests that they get and how much I personally learn all the time from these guys. Lots of hacks, you know.
Yeah.
But we're not hacks.
You're not a hack, but you give us hacks.
Right.
And we're really, really honored and pleased and thrilled to welcome Randy Thomas as our guest sensei. You have been a guest sensei before, so it's great to have you back. And
I feel like it's been quite a while, no?
It's been a little while. It has been a little while, yeah. But I thought it would be cool to have you come as like alt awards season is starting, and hear about how you're approaching that. It was already becoming alt awards season in how things were flowing with no hosts and stuff like that. But yeah, tell us what you're up to and who you are, and like we don't know who you are, but maybe some people don't yet.
Well, first of all, it's really great to be here. And I love that everyone is saying where they're from, because I love seeing where you guys are from. And I get a better sense of, what's going on in your life sometimes when I see where you are. So I'm loving this. So you guys know, I guess my brand is that I am the first woman 10-time Oscar announcer. I think I was just born at the right time for women, so that by the time I had put in 20 years on the radio as a DJ, and in my just approaching my 20th year, I was doing the morning show on the Wave, and that's when the Oscars came calling. And I talk about I wasn't the only one to audition, and I talk about how I think I booked the Oscars, having never done live television or anything close to that magnitude before. I feel that mastery is so important. I created VO Mastery in like 6-7 years ago, but I believe that my 20 years of radio, turning on the mic every day, getting behind the mic, being comfortable talking to people, and remembering even when you're live and you're global, you're only talking to one person. So I think having a 20-year history of being on the radio, only talking to one person, feeling comfortable behind the mic in a room where no one is looking at me, I think that was the key for me booking the Oscars. But once I did that, then I became the one vetted woman. And so because of our industry, there were like a couple of dozen men that were doing live, but I was the first woman. So by virtue of that, I got to do all the big live shows. Mm-hmm. And I say that I was born at the right time, right? To be the first woman to do a lot of things. So I feel very grateful for that. I've created a brand out of it. As you guys are doing your voiceover work, if you don't already have your brand, you have to figure it out. And I'm also good at helping people figure out their brands. And then everything changed. No more live award shows after 2020 started, really. And now it's all so different. So around 2018, I got a call from ABC Nightline to be the announcer, the in-show narrator announcer for Nightline on ABC. And then loving that job, really digging in and being a part of the ABC network brand, I started doing more stuff for them for the news side. And, you know, when you're doing voiceover, if you're in your teens, 20s, 30s, you might have one way that you're, or certain genres that you feel you're going to excel in. For me, I realized that there are so many young voiceover actors coming in that for me to find my place, because I have no intention of stopping working anytime soon, but for me to find the place where my voice belongs, I found it in news. And it happened in a year where the news became everything. So I just feel that the timing of my career, the timing of the things that and opportunities that have come my way are not an accident. I do believe that we get to co-create and manifest the future of our dreams when we're working in alignment with the universe, waking up every day in gratitude, giving back, having an open heart, attention to detail, being a professional, being kind. These are all the qualities that I feel that I've learned that somehow just have continued to allow new work come to me. You know what I mean? Like there's marketing, there's agents, there's all kinds of ways you can make your career happen. But I think that it's much bigger than that. It's really about your connection to, you know, what's bigger than us. And especially in a time like this, where we have been shut down and kept at home, those of you who I'm seeing are working from home and it's dead winter and you've had snowstorms and you can't go anywhere anyway. I do think that we as voiceover artists, and I'll let Dan speak to this, we have been the most ready of all of the jobs out there. I think voice actors who have created and developed home studios and are able to turn their audio out no matter what, we have a leg up on the rest of the country and the rest of the world. We know people are hurting. We know people are trying to make ends meet. But if you haven't figured out in 2020 that you need to have a digital business, remote, and being able to do your job 100% remotely, if you're ready for that, and that's where Dan can help you, you are ready to capitalize on your talent in this space and time of what's going on. That was a really long monologue,
No,
wasn't it?
it was really gorgeous because it makes so much sense where the foundations of your understanding. There's so many layers of what you just shared. You know, and at the dojo, the internal work is equally, if not more important than the external work. Okay, everyone can do mic technique, but it's that thing that you were just talking about. Where does it come from, and how are you aligned with it, and what are you here to do? You shared the Nightline spot that you did for the inauguration celebration. What a powerful thing that you are the voice of that event.
Yeah,
And
that was ABC News. So that actually
ABC
was
News,
bigger
yeah.
than Nightline.
Right,
ABC
right.
News has embraced me. And so they're using me for all of their big stuff, all their big political stuff, which is incredible. And it means a lot to me to be entrusted with that. And no matter what side politically you are on, my job is to not let anyone that's watching ABC Network know how I feel about either party. I just want them to know that you can watch everything right here. So I want to be sensitive to how torn we are as a country. So my job as the voice of ABC News, when I work for them, is to invite everyone in. And I feel that I do that as well in the voiceover world. I invite everyone in. And there was another point I was going to make, and I thought I got it from one of the questions. Yeah, gratitude and kindness. For sure is such an important thing because, you know, when you meditate, when you are alone and able to really tap into your connection to get out there in the matrix, you know, like going into a meditative state, there's nothing more powerful than that. I recently read, I was watching a YouTube video that even the smallest thing that is known to man, the atom and then within it, it's, you know, there are smaller components, but that within our actual DNA is the God gene. Like, how powerful is that to know that we each have the God gene, the DNA inside of us? And to know that means that if you tap into who you truly are, that's how the phone rings and it's someone you haven't talked to in years that's like, hey, I have this friend and they have a company and they're trying to launch it and they need a voice for their narration. Would you do it? Like, you're the only voice actor I know, so would you be in? You know, these are how things happen. And out of nowhere, it's serendipity, but truly, I believe we create it.
Combined with mastery, right? You do your work every day. And I've been talking a lot about the idea of frequency, right? That we come together and it raises everyone's frequency. We do what we do every day, frequency, 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 frequency. And then what you were just saying, tuning into your own frequency and how do you...
And raising it. Because right now, with all of the fear of COVID and just what's going on the planet, like we've just shifted into 2021. They say we're truly entering the age of Aquarius, but right now, anything can happen at any moment. That seems to be, look at Dan's eyes. He's like, what? But truly, so there are going to be shocking things that will happen. So how do we not live in fear about that? We have to be connected to what's really important, your heart, your hopes, your dreams, your wishes, and internalize them, and they will externalize. And I saw, thank you for speaking, Randy. Is there a significant difference in style between working in radio and announcing television? Did you want me to attack a question or do you want to feed the questions?
Yeah, I'll grab the questions and when we can all answer it. Yeah, excellent. So I love that this foundation of every question that we're going to ask comes from this place. You know, it's fantastic. So I think we have a little combination of things in the chat and in the questions. So if you've typed in the chat, just for logistics, if you typed your question in the chat, can you type it in the questions so that we're all here? I think that will be a little easier to wrangle. And let's see, we have a bunch of questions. And I love what happens on this call because we have questions. We start with boom, the universe, and then we'll get down to nitty-gritty questions.
From the macro to the micro.
And it's great because we can see how they all fit together. So the first question we have: what is the hourly market rate range for a voice actor? So that has so many layers to it. Because voice acting is not priced like having a job, having an hourly rate job, usually, and each genre has different ways that things are that you are paid for in different ways. So there's not necessarily an hourly rate market or market rate. I think that you have to know what the markets are, you have to know what your value is, and you have to know how to bring those things together.
It's based on genre, right? Different genres have different rates for different kinds of recordings. So GBAA, and even if you just go into SAG-AFTRA and look at their rate card, I would say if I wanted to eventually become a union player or at least be considered top tier if I chose to be non-union, I would look at union rates and I would want to match them as closely as possible as you develop your talent. It's certainly a number to shoot for. And those of you who eventually join the union, you will have the ability to, you know, start putting in for your pension and get health care and things that you guys have to do on your own now. That is why we join the union. It's and to get and to level up. You know, you want to level up and get that work that's up there. There's a lot of people down there looking for work. And I think that's where the fear in voiceover comes from, where people are afraid to ask for what they truly deserve because they're afraid they'll lose out on the job. So for me, being a union player, it's like, no, these are the rates. And if you want to use an actor of this caliber, this is what you have to pay. But I think even in the non-union place, you have to be willing to, you know, to negotiate and to ask for what you deserve and not sell your voice. If you have talent, don't sell it for less than you deserve. And I know when you're trying to put food on the table, that's a tough decision. But again, going back to what we were talking about with manifesting and karma and all of those things that you have to do to, you know, traverse the path of, you know, to become the most successful voice actor you can, you have to start playing, you know, the long game. And if you have to let something go in the short run because they refuse to pay you more, let it go. I mean, somehow it comes back to you. The universe does reward you when you stand up for yourself, I believe.
And I think opening your awareness to how the business works, then you'll be able to find. In the chat, Isabella shared the Global Voice Acting Academy GBA rate card. That's a great.
Yeah, and they're based on the SAG-AFTRA card.
Yeah,
so I would say that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And, you know, my daughter who is in the commercial side of voiceover, she does mostly commercials, she does promo, but she will do P2Ps, even though she has top agents. She will market herself on P2Ps. She will go to the trouble of converting things that she can to union. And a lot of times she'll read for something and she'll get a, hey, we love you. And then she'll ask them the usage. So that's what I wanted to get back to, Tish, is usage is everything. So she'll ask them about usage, and that does not square up with the rate that they posted. And so she'll say, well, based on usage, and she might ask for 5 or 10 times what they put into the thing. And she's actually gotten it.
Yeah.
The actors that know what they're doing and hold the clients accountable, saying, look, I've looked at the usage. The GVAA rate card, which is non-union even, says it should be X. I would love to work with you, but I cannot do this for less than X or Y. And operate from there. And I promise you, if you are good and you have studied and you have talent, it's going to work out for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, let's keep on going. Randy, do you do most promos to picture or wild? And that's from Elizabeth. When you're working on promos, do you work?
I very rarely do anything to picture anymore because I work remotely. Like someone like Joe Cipriano, who he's got Pro Tools. I don't use Pro Tools anymore, and hopefully Dan will jump in on this part of the convo. So I only use Twisted Wave. I do not know how to bring in the network side and read to picture. Joe knows how to do that. A lot of actors do. I don't. So basically what I ask for when I'm doing a network promo is, can you give me the music? Do you know what music you're going to use? Or I'll say, do you have a rough of it? And many times in promo, they have already cut the spot and they put in a guide vocal. So they'll send that to me. I'll look at it and then I'll know exactly, what I'm working off, like what SOT comes just before they're going to put my voice in. When I say SOT for you guys, if you don't know what that is, it's called sound on tape. And that is when in a promo, you see a talking head. In our world, that's called an SOT, sound on tape. And sometimes if you're recording live, you're waiting for that SOT, you hear it end and boom, you're in. But I do everything remotely. I send them, generally, if ABC sends me a promo, I will record it. I'll record it several times until I feel like, okay, I've got this. And then I will send them 2 takes. I'll send them what I think is my best take. And then the next one would also be best, but it would be the faster take. Because for some reason, I never seem to talk fast enough for television. I just wish I was a little faster. But a lot of times they'll write for me because they know I'm not the fastest reader. So, yeah. So.
Excellent. Good. Yeah, that's very helpful. And understanding how the process is transitioning to working at home.
So what I wanted to say is that, so sometimes I'll give them 2 takes, T to B, top to bottom. And the second take will be the fastest. Then if it's like 1 line at a time and they're breaking the script down and I'm just setting things up, and I will read each line 3 times. I will give them what we call an ABC read. I will give them 3 reads of each line. Of those 3, the last one will always be the fastest in case they're like, I just need her fastest tag, tonight on ABC, whatever. They want the fastest one. So then I'll do line by line. The third take is always the fastest. And that's how I send back promos to them. I hope that answered your question.
Awesome. It's great to hear your process. Let's segue to some studio things. We've got a bunch of questions. So someone who is it? Hold on one second. Megan asks what is your setup? And then Dan, why don't we segue? There's a bunch of, Sean has a question about setting the mic up from above. Mel has a question about beginnings investing. Floor covering is in here, and shotgun mics. So it seems like, and Audacity. So
Right.
there's a little circle of tech questions that if Randy, you want to show us around what you've got, and then Dan, you can sort of.
I wish I could physically show you, but I have a big old,
you can just tell us.
iMac sitting on top of my desk. So I'm in a 10 by 12 foot vocal booth that was gifted to me by D. Bradley Baker.
Oh, it's got history.
Yeah, I had a couple of, since I moved back to LA in 2016, so it's 2021, I have moved 4 times, you guys.
Wow.
And this was after living in a home in Florida that we built and lived in, and I raised my daughter, and I brought too much stuff with me to LA. I have schlepped it into 4 different houses. And the house that I'm in right now, I'm hoping I'm going to stay a few years, so I'm getting better at unpacking, purging, organizing, things like that. But what's
in your setup?
So my setup is, so within this vocal booth, I completely redid the interior. I had panels made. Dan, you have to come out and check my new studio out. Dan's been to all my studios. So I have an Avalon, which has been a workhorse for me, but I had it completely updated. My Avalon goes into my Apollo. I use a 416, and the Apollo goes into my iMac. I do have other mics, but because of, I just love the 416. I do have a nice sound environment, but if a truck is, sitting outside my house, that low end 60 cycle ground hum thing, gets in here. So I have to be very careful. But yes, I know that you someone had asked about the 416, and do these shotgun mics let in less ambient noise? And the answer is yes. I'll let Dan explain why and how that is. So anyway, my setup is very simple, a universal Apollo. And Dan, tell me, am I going mic into Avalon, into the universal, then back into my Mac? I'm not sure of my mic chain. George set it up, so you tell me what most likely it is.
Well, it's most likely the mic goes into your Avalon preamp, which to me is, hyper super duper overkill if you've got an Apollo Twin interface, which people don't. Everybody gets recommended to get an Apollo Twin. The reason for it is that you can put all these plugins into it and do all these things that take you 20 years to learn. So it's not really necessary, I think, for beginners to really have to worry about getting an expensive preamp or anything. I was talking with somebody last night who had an $1,800 universal preamp that he was putting into his $600 Apollo Twin, and it made him sound like he was 80 feet tall, along with a TV in the background and everything else that was going on there. You don't need a really sensitive microphone and lots and lots of gain to sound proper. To me, everything is about physical things, the acoustics of the room you're in, keeping exterior noise out, preventing your voice from reverberating inside the room, which is why Randy's studio is treated that way. So it absorbs the sound and diffuses it. So all you're hearing is her voice and not sound from the outside. Proper microphone technique. Randy has her 416 set there a certain way, which is about 45 degrees aimed towards her chin, and she's a good 7 to 8 inches away from it. For some promo reads, she probably goes a little bit more direct to it, like that. And then
is there a reason? Is there? I'm sorry, Dan. Is there a reason that it's from above? That was one of the specific questions.
Yeah, well, because the 416 is designed to be a video mic, and it captures you like a human being because you're not right on top of it, and it makes you sound a little bit more natural. But it also has these interesting characteristics for when you're doing promo work, where you can get a little bit closer up to it, and it works really, really well for that. And microphone technique, and I can show you very quickly. Somebody asked about, how do you have your microphone set? Well, somebody asked why is it upside down? Well, for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you're voice acting or you're an actor or you're an on-screen actor or something like that, you don't play to the camera unless you're doing a commercial or something like that. And the same applies to a microphone. You want to concentrate on being a voice actor and concentrating on your copy, and forget that the microphone is there. So everybody's buying these big black circly things that they put in front of their mic, which reminds them that they're on a microphone, and tends to make people like what I like to call voice overact. And you really want to get the microphone out of your field of vision and really concentrate on your copy so you forget that it's there and you become sounding much more natural. The other reason upside down and at about eye level with the microphone is because I can go Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, and you'll notice I don't have that big black disc in front of there. And I sound totally natural because the microphone is at the same height as our ears, which is how people perceive us. So for general voiceover type of work, this is the way you would have it set. And somebody asked about how do I have it like that? Well, I've got a boom arm like the same way Randy does there. And it clamps onto your desk, or this one's bolted into the wall, and it gives me the ability to move the microphone anywhere I need to do it. And of course, I've also brilliantly put a lamp on here, so it's also acts as my desk lamp. But
and that is, what mic is that in front of you?
This is a custom made K47 from Mike Parts, that
Beautiful.
I actually made and and soldered together and turned it on. I'm like, holy crap, it works.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but in my booth I've got a 416 like yours.
Right. So, and generally the thing about the 416, like when I work for Entertainment Tonight, or actually most of even when I go to ABC in New York, they have a 416 in the booth. And because most people are taller than me, it tends to be placed higher on a boom, but pointed down, because certainly for me, I'm not someone that works in my head voice. That would be more a commercial read. I work from, my strongest place, my diaphragmatic breathing and really coming from a powerful place. So this mic is actually pointed more at my chest than my mouth. Wouldn't you agree, Dan?
Absolutely.
That's interesting. That's an interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's totally proper technique for the 416, and it's the microphone that you're going to find in most studios here in LA. Clearly, when I got here in LA about 5.5 years ago, it was like everybody had a 416, and there's a reason for it, because it's what everybody's using, but it's incredibly versatile. Somebody asked, is a shotgun mic good for preventing exterior noise? It has a very narrow pickup pattern, and it may save you when their gardeners are there with their leaf blowers and stuff like that. But for the most part, there's a reason for it, and but it's also an expensive microphone. And it's
what I'm sorry, Dan, what mic would you recommend? Would it be like a Rode NT1 shotgun as like a go-to?
That was it. I was
in $500-600.
Segueing from how do you begin?
Yeah, really. Well, you don't start with a shotgun mic. You start with a pretty easy studio condenser mic, like an Audio Technica 2035 or a 4040 or a Presonus or not a Persona, AKG Perception.
What are we looking at? Like 200 to 400 range?
You don't have to spend more than $300 for a good studio condenser mic. But also remember, the more expensive the mic, the more sensitive it is, and the more critical the environment in which you record becomes. So if you're in a somewhat marginal environment where you really have a lot of exterior noise, you really don't want to have a sensitive mic, because it will really highlight the problems that particular space is having. So don't go hog wild on this. And very quickly, it's not the equipment that gets you work. It's you that gets you work, and keeping things simple and doing those 3 basic things about acoustics, mic technique, and the one thing that nobody seems to understand, and that's setting proper microphone levels. But that's something you need to be doing.
Yeah. Well, I think that answers a bunch of the tech questions. Dan's always available to set up your home studio and to do specimen samples of if you have something set up and you want to see where it's at, Dan can give you great feedback on that.
Can I just ask Dan? So Dan, for you to consult people, like if I were going to coach someone, I would give them a Zoom link and we would coach on Zoom. For you to do what you do you need more team viewers so that you can literally get into their computer and see what they're working with?
Well, actually, Zoom allows you to do that now too.
It does? Oh, you can take over the desktop. I see, if I share it or whatever.
They can really adjust their settings and things like that. And of course, I've been teaching primarily by Zoom, during the pandemic, although I really miss the hands-on stuff, because it's fun to come visit Randy and
I know.
Well, let's segue to some bigger questions. There's a bunch of people who are talking, asking about transitioning from broadcast to voiceover. I think there's so many elements of the nuances of that is important for everyone, and also anyone taking mastery from one realm and bringing it to another medium. And then there's also a bunch of questions about how to start approaching, if you are a working pro, how do you start approaching bringing promo into how do you look for affiliate work, stuff like that. But let's start with the broadcast the transition from broadcast to VO, what do you know? What do you know now that you've done it?
Well, as a former radio chick, came out of radio, it's, that's what I do. I help people who want to expand how they are using their voice into voiceover. So obviously training is the best thing you can do. You're so smart that you're right here in the VO Dojo where Tish has a program. I have so much respect for you, Tish. Your way of approaching voiceover is very specific. You train people, you really give them the foundation that they need. Nice VU meter, Dan. Wait, let's see. Are you, if I yell really loud, he's going to go into the red. So how do you do it? You train, take classes. I think that's the most affordable way to do it.
What would you say are some of the differences? Like what adjustments do you make from working in radio to making
Okay, so here's the analogy I give. When I was a DJ on the radio, and, I started as an actor, like through high school, I worked through Jewish community theater and, then I went to New York to study acting at HB Studios and realized that there were just really talented people in New York that I might as well leave. And not that I wasn't a good actor, but if you're in New York, if you don't sing and dance, you're shut out most of the time. So I went back to Detroit where I was from and I got into radio. And then 20 years on the radio. During all of those years, I loved being on the radio. I loved my listeners. I loved the relationship we would have. I loved going out on remotes and meeting listeners. But once I was plucked from radio, right? Well, actually, the first commercial I ever did was while I was a DJ, and that was Hooked on Phonics. Who here remembers? Get hooked on phonics. Call 1-800-ABCDEFG. So those were very easy commercials for a DJ to cut because it was just about being fast and loud and and like we care and letting people know, honestly, we can help you or your child learn to read. So that was an easy spot for me. But let me just, I guess the story I'm trying to tell is when I was a DJ and I wanted to tap into my acting roots, when I would have to go in the production room and cut a commercial, and I would try to act it out and, be a little more, just creative with the copy. I felt like I was being dishonest to my listeners because they knew me as me, the person that's talking to you now. And I felt like, who are you trying to kid? Your listeners will know you're like putting on this acting thing. So it was very weird for me. I couldn't wrap my brain around as a DJ how to pull myself out of being this just communicator that uses my real voice all the time to really becoming an actor and losing myself in the copy. And let's face it, radio copy that you get at the station that you have to cut is not written in a way as, advertising agency commercials once you get into the world of voiceover. So once you step away from radio, you can really tap into your inner actor. And I found that the longer I was out of being on the radio, the better I got. So I don't know if that answers your question. Yeah, thanks, Avery. Hooked on Phonics worked for me.
I think there's lots of things, the skills that from broadcast that translate particularly to promo in a lot of ways. In terms of in broadcast, you need to keep the energy moving forward. There's never, I remember being on interviewed on a talk show and just being in awe of my friends who were the hosts of like, wow, you guys just keep this going. You keep it going and it keeps on. There's never a stop. And I think that's part of promo as well. I think a lot of broadcast is sharing information, whether it's, this is what's up next, or this is what's going on. And then promo it has that relationship to people too. hi, this is what's going on. I'm telling you what's happening, and this is what you should do. So I think those, it seems like a really nice taking the skills from, I always talk of broadcast being like the cousin of voiceover in some ways, that it's all in the same family, the skills that you have, understanding timing, knowing the mic technique, being yourself in front of the mic, all apply. It's just a little bit different how you approach it. And like, if you go to your cousin's house, you're still family, but the rules are a little different. So, yeah, that's interesting.
So I do think promo, for me anyway, was easy for me to jump from radio into promo. It just felt right. It felt like I was still being myself as naturally as I could be, but imparting important information to the listener, and my voice is being married to picture. It just was super easy. You know, I think that's why someone like Joe Cipriano is so good in the promo world, because he also came out of radio. Those of us that come out of radio, we tend to find ourselves in promo. I also do affiliate work, meaning I have TV stations in certain markets that I am the voice of. They don't have to be ABC networks. In fact, my one station, let me see, I have an NBC, I have a ABC, I have a CBS. So when you're doing affiliate work, it can be any one of the networks that you're working for at a local level in that market. But as a promo voice for ABC news, I don't think I can go to another network and do any news promos. That would not work out well for me. So, but affiliate work is great. Radio imaging, like if I were coming out of radio, the first place I would want to go is become a radio imaging voice for stations. Maybe it's stations you've never worked on, or maybe you have an amazing relationship with your station and you're like, listen, I'm going to pursue voiceover work. I can't do an air shift anymore, but what I would love to do is to do your imaging, you know.
It's really promo for radio, right?
It really is. It's promo for radio, exactly. And plus, when you come out of radio, like when I first started doing imaging, once I did the Oscars, a few months later, I got fired from my radio station. So I was without a job, and it was at the end of a 20-year career. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Who am I if I'm not a DJ? Like, that was 20 years of my life. That's who I was at my core. And I thought, okay, who am I? But getting into promo helped me do it. But mostly, so my husband was working in record promotion. So he was talking to radio stations every week. And my husband started asking radio stations, who are you using for your imaging? They were all using men. They're like, would you like to try Randy to do some of your imaging? So that's how I started my imaging career. There was a point where I had like 50 or 60 stations. I'm down to just a few. It's an amazing way to make a living. What I love about radio imaging is that you get paid every month. These are annual contracts. So whatever you agree on, depending on your rates are based on market size plus the amount of work they're going to give you. So if they say we want 4 pages a month and we're in market number 50 might get you $150 a month, maybe. 100, right? So market 50, they don't have much money, but for $150 a month, you get an annual contract. So that's what, $1,700 a year. So get 20 radio stations, even at that rate, small market radio stations, and you've got a career, and you know what you're getting every month.
Right. That goes back to the first question of, it kind of depends on how you're working, right? How you get paid. Now, there was a question about if one were interested in getting into affiliate work. I hear you saying segueing from broadcast, working relationships there, in terms of radio imaging. who would you contact at a station or
Well, so before you do that, you need a demo.
right?
So in order to create that demo, do you create all the demos for your students? Are you a demo house? Are you, I don't really know the extent of your business.
We have a working relationship with Next Level Voice Demos, so we work with them.
Okay. So I use with Trey Murphy, Ernest Trey Murphy, and he is making incredible demos because he came out of CNN and the Weather Channel.
Oh,
For
okay.
him, he makes video demos, and video demos are so great, especially if you want to do affiliate work,
Mm-hmm.
because then you can build based on affiliates all across the country and come up with a demo where the buyers will believe that you are the voice of the 4 stations that are inside your demo.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have to have a great demo, and a demo that you don't have to pay an arm and a leg for, something that is affordable. There are demo producers in LA that I'm sure people would like to aspire to hire that are at the $2,000 to $3,500 level. I don't recommend a demo like that until you are working in the field for years. I really don't. I think you should start from where you are, get a great demo, and then as you work, start replacing your least favorite spot in a demo with the actual one. So you can create an affiliate demo, and then you get that one affiliate, boom, put that in the front, so that you're, and I think this is how you build it, one station at a time, but it has to be based on having a demo that represents your voice in that particular area.
And once you have that, who would you approach? Like, would you approach the marketing department, or how does that? Who are the people who?
Well, there are certain agents in our industry that have they've already locked that down. So, for example, I'm with Atlas Talent, and there are certain television broadcast owner, companies where they are locked in with Atlas. And so there are big agents that already have most of the affiliates around the country, but that doesn't mean that you can't directly send your demo to someone at the station that will listen to it and perhaps pass it up to the decision makers. If it's a station in your own hometown, I always think there's an advantage to that. Like, why not start where you are? Who knows that market better than you? Who knows the subtleties of how you pronounce certain towns or roads or things that, someone else from outside that area might not know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a question also about, can you talk a little bit about the workflow? And we're going to go a couple minutes over, if that's okay. We started a couple minutes late. Is that
I'm
okay?
good. Well, I was late, so.
No worries. It's okay. Martin asks about the golden handcuffs aspects of promo work. I think everyone aspires to it, and there's certain real realities that go with it. Can you talk a little bit about what is your workflow, and how does your life flow around the work the amazing work that you're doing?
Well, thank you. I know Dan is working every day. What's your workflow like, Dan? No?
There we go. Why can't I hear anybody? That's what's going on. I can't hear the grandchildren. I take them off of mute. My workflow is very, very simple, and I think that people tend to really overthink their workflow a whole lot. I mean, if I get some copy from one of my clients, it's like, give them 3 takes, and edit it into 3 good takes, turn it into an MP3, and send it back to them. If it's something longer, really, I've got things set up, and I think most professionals do. to where it's hit record and do your job, not have to think about, oh, I got to turn this on, I got to do that, I got to do that. People get these really sophisticated software programs like Randy, you stopped using Pro Tools, and the reason is like you don't need all that stuff. If you're on a Mac, Twisted Wave is really simple. If you're not on a Mac, Audacity is really
Audacity.
Yeah, Adobe Audition. It's not the software that makes you sound good, it's the physical environment in which you record and how you use everything. So don't think, well, this stuff is like industry standard. There's no such thing.
So you're talking about having your equipment ready to go, turn it on, do your job. And
stop thinking of it as a computer and more like a cassette recorder. Play, stop, record, rewind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think we're also talking about like how in the course of the day does the workflow when particularly. Yeah.
Right. For me, most of my work comes later in the day because I'm working with New York and they're on East Coast time. And for example, if I'm recording for Nightline doesn't even get the control room until 9 o'clock Eastern, so that's 6 o'clock our time. So I get work later in the day. So my first thing would be to come in the booth, and my radio and TV stations, if they need something, I'll knock that out for them. And I think that's the thing, that if you come out of radio, that you have the knowledge of knowing how hard that job is for program directors, production directors. You're working too many stations, you are overextended. And that's why when they select a voiceover talent to image their station, if that talent doesn't come out of radio and they're like, yeah, it's my radio station, I'll get to them when I can. Like, I was in radio. I know what it's like to be overwhelmed, and the sales weasels that we would call them, the sales weasels will come in at 5 o'clock with, hey, we want to get this on first thing tomorrow. We need, and right. So my heart goes out to them and I am there for them. And it doesn't matter that they're not my highest paying client, because they're a small part of my daily or my annual, but to them, I'm a big part of their station. So I recognize that and I honor that. And so when they need something, I try to turn it around as quickly as I can. Yeah. And then auditions, I try to do those later in the day before I'm ready to do the work that's about to come in. I'll get to my auditions, because most auditions that come in during the day, it's like, we need this back by 8 or 9 a.m. Pacific time, right? Noon Eastern. So I don't want to get up and cut a spot at 8 a.m. I have a deep voice. You should hear me at 8 a.m. Like, that's not my best sounding voice. So I feel that if I've been up for hours, that's where I start to sound better.
Yeah, that's cool. And then look, what happens, like, how do you take breaks, or how does that work?
I have breaks all day,
No, I mean, like Dave, we're going away now.
Oh, to leave? Oh my God, for all voiceover people, let me tell you, if you're not booking enough, plan a vacation. That's all there is to it. Plan a vacation. The day you're leaving, a client will call and say, I know this is last minute, but can you do this? Like, it's sort of a universal law, right, Dan?
Well, when you're sitting in the terminal, and you're like you're getting ready to get, no, not now. It's a universal thing, no question about it.
Yeah.
So are you able to take breaks as the important voice of ABC News, or are you able to say, I'll be out for a bit? Or
I never tell my clients I can't do something. So of course, if I'm sitting in a terminal, my gear is always in my carry-on bag. So I would probably try to find, the biggest store in the airport, if they're open now, and I would go hide in the corner behind a shelf and I'd record. People look at you very strangely, but I only need 15 seconds of quiet, to do it.
Right. Yeah.
So, Yeah.
One of the things that I love about what you were saying before about understanding and recognizing that you are part of a team. That's one of the things we've been saying at the dojo all the time is there is no they, there's only we. And if we can approach that from the beginning, from when you first pick up a piece of copy to audition, how am I helping this copywriter, this producer, this creative director do their job better? Excellent. Because if I'm the person, as I'm the person, I'm here to solve the problem, then you just become part of the team. And it's so beautiful how you whether that team is a small affiliate in Florida or the Academy Awards, right? Or ABC News or whatever it is that we bring that energy and understanding how do we become part of the bigger picture and how can we serve and make everyone's job easier. And I think that ties back to where we started with gratitude and humility and opening to possibility too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel that between preparation, studying, having someone like Dan in your corner when you're trying to suss out any audio issues, and someone like Tish who you train with, those are the basics for launching your own career and being mindful, following up with people. I always say the hardest thing is to get into someone's space without getting in their face. So, right? So that's the goal, to get someone to notice you without being like too annoying.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we're 5 minutes over, so let's finish up. How do you work with people individually, Randy? How do you work with people, and how can people stay in touch with you?
So my email is Randy Thomas, and then the word script, plural, Randy Thomas scripts @gmail.com. And yeah, I work with people. My rate is, I think it's a lot. The only reason I put it there is because otherwise I would be too busy with coaching. I feel like my time is really valuable. So I'm $175 an hour, but I have clients who will hire me for 3 hours and then I drop it down to $150. So that's how I work one-on-one. Basically, because I came from radio, I have created everything that I have in my life, and I've worked really hard. No one ever gave me money. Every penny I have, I've had to work really hard for. I've made a lot, I've lost a lot, and then I've come back again. So I treat your money like it's mine, and I don't let you spend too much time with me if I feel that you're going to get more out of spending less and taking more classes, and then come to me when you're closer to wanting to get the demo done. I don't like taking people's money and not have, and then sometimes people will hire me, they'll pay the hour, and they just really needed me to listen to an audition, coach them for 20 minutes, and then bank the rest of the hour for the next audition that's really important. So I do think sometimes you need to spend the money with a coach to book a really important audition. I know I do it. Don't think that I'm at a point in my life where I don't need any input and I can just step up to the mic and book everything. There are times where if a job is really important to me, I'm going to reach out to my go-to experts and coaches and say, this is really important to me. Can I send you what I just recorded? Give me some input. I don't necessarily need them to tie in with me to direct me, but like, hey, am I in the right direction, do you think? And just take their input.
That's so gorgeous. The fifth rule of the dojo is cultivate beginner's mind, determination, humility, and curiosity. And you just embodied that, right? I mean, it's really easy to go like, oh, Randy, she is the pinnacle of everything. And then also, I love what you just said of how none of us, we do our work, and we we ride the waves of what this industry brings us at the right time. Ooh, not the right time. And to never, to keep on building and growing, and always understanding that it is out of gratitude. It is such grace that we have these opportunities, and that they can't go down, and then you got to figure out how to get back up. And
Listen,
so many great.
when you go into those P2Ps and you see that a charity that doesn't have more than $100 is trying to create something really important, and they're trying to pay the most they have, and say you would never do a job for $100, one of my favorite things to do, especially when I had the P2Ps that I was working through, I would just write them and I'd say, I don't want any money. I would like to give you this as a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you know, when we talk about the universe and manifesting by having a heart and knowing someone needs a voice, and you think you can do a great job for them, do it. Give it to them. I really believe, just ask them for a copy of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, say, listen, all I want is a copy of my voice put to video. And thank you very much.
Which goes with also knowing your worth and asking for the money. Yeah, so much to talk about. Dan, how do people keep in touch with you?
Well, they can go to my website, homevoiceoverstudio.com. Explains how I work. I can work with people over Zoom. Once this pandemic's over and you're perhaps in the LA area, I can actually physically come to your place and help you set it up. But you need to get proper instruction. Don't rely on group sourcing or crowdsourcing your home voiceover studio from Facebook forums, because every voice is different. Every room is different, and every home voiceover studio really needs to be individually developed to you, for your lifestyle, for what your voice is like. And you know, you can try and learn it overnight, but it takes many years. So use my expertise and some of the other people that can do that
And it's something that will evolve, guys. You know, start. You know, if you had a baby and you didn't have anything, you'd put it in the drawer and that would be fine. And then I love also what Randy said about you and Dan. I know this is one of your philosophies. You do the work and then get the stuff. Like you do the work to get better equipment. You do the work and keep on investing. And in general, just understanding that the beginning of this journey is the beginning of your business. So anything you invest is the beginning of your business, and then you will evolve, you know, to a bigger storefront or a big, you know, so that's all part of it.
And let me tell you, Dan has the biggest heart. He doesn't talk about all the things that he has given and done for people, but that's the kind of human he is. He cares. He gives of his time. And listen, look at how long he's been doing VOBS for.
10 years.
Us, for us, you know, thank God you've got some sponsors, and I want to sponsor. I'm gonna jump in and sponsor some of your VOBS, Dan.
Gee, thanks.
Okay.
Excellent. Well, guys, we went way over, but it's been so lovely. Thank you so much. So I think, Dan, you were answering some questions in the background.
I've been typing.
So, Randy, if you have 10 extra minutes and want to go through the Q&A and type in any answers, what we usually do at this point is stop the video, stop the sound, so it's as if we're not here, so we won't be interacting with you, but we'll just, if the three of us can take a couple minutes, if we have it, like 10 minutes, and we'll try and type in the answers, because I know there's a lot of people on the call and only an hour, but we do love that you are here. You can make it a destination the first Wednesday of every month. We're here from 10 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. James C., my friend and colleague, who's an amazing animation guy. You know him from Jackie Chan. You know him from Avatar. Last Airbender. He's in so many animated things. He's just doing a new, the voice of Stillwater, the panda in Zen Shorts. So he'll be joining us next month, and so we'd love having you here. If you'd like to stay in touch with the dojo, we're at www.thevodojo.com. We have stuff for wherever you are on your journey from I don't know to working pro. Working pro-wise, we have VO Dojo Pro Fight Club, which is expanded from 2 to 4 each month. Top-notch talent with the decision makers who hire us. So check that out. If you're a player, fill out an application to be a player, demo repped booking. And if you are not, we invite you to audit. We have some amazing guests coming up, and you can audit and watch and learn working pros in the booth. If you're just starting out, you should do voiceover. We're sold out until March, but we have openings in March and April. If you're on your journey and just want to take it up a notch in a concise way, we can talk about the Mystery to Mastery program. There's something for everyone here. And if you have other questions or want to talk more, you can always sign up for 15 minutes for a voiceover once over with one of the dojo team. And we'll keep on getting your questions answered. Randy and Dan and Joshua and Diana, thank you so much for being here. Everybody, loved having you here. Look forward to seeing you next month. And yeah, thank you. And
Thank you.
we're gonna go mute and stop video. So it will be as if we're done, call's done, and we'll type for a couple seconds. And Randy and Dan, whatever you have time for, even if it's just 5 minutes. So don't feel obliged to answer everything if
Right.
you don't have time. So
I do want to recommend that people try to get on Clubhouse if you're not already on.
Mhm.
Clubhouse has turned into a space where there's incredible kindness, support, information, not just about VO. I find myself going into, by the way, this is an app that was created to honor the power of the human voice. So once you're in the Clubhouse app, there's no texting, there's no chat going on. You're either in a room listening or you're out, as Sherry Tay says, yay, Clubhouse, or you are raising your hand to get on stage and ask a question. Last night on Clubhouse, my friend Michael Rothenberg wrote this book of poems called Walking on Air that was a result of his expression of grief when he lost his son 2 years ago to an accidental drug overdose. And we read poems from his book that were so heavy and sad. And I had E.G. Daly and Dennis Kleinman and amazing actors, Tasia Valenza Stern, and everyone read a poem from this. And it was incredibly powerful. And we spent a lot of time talking about grief. I just wanted to do something different other than talking about basic voiceover stuff in Clubhouse. I thought, let me use this platform. And we brought in poets because Michael is a renowned poet. And poets came and listened to the voice actors reading Michael's words. And I think they really got a sense of that they've got to step up their own reading game. So, but my dream was to sort of cross-pollinate poets, writers, voiceover people, spiritual people, all into one room. And we kind of did that last night. So I'm looking to do more exploratory, out of the box kinds of rooms on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Sherry Tay, by the way, Sherry is she's kind of an expert in that space. So you should turn to her for any help or questions about Clubhouse.
Yay. Well, I would love to, that's been floating around my soul as well, how to bring the poetry element. So I'd love to.
Oh, wow. Yes. I'll let you know next time. You're on Clubhouse, Tish?
I am now. Andy Roth sent me a invite. So
oh, good. Someone just gave me 3 invites. So
yeah.
So the more that you get on stage, or if you actually get to the point where you host your own room, that's when you start getting the invites. Clubhouse wants this feeling of exclusivity, so you can't just go and sign up. But if you have an iPhone, it's iPhone only. If you have an iPhone, go to the App Store, download Clubhouse, the audio app, and anyone you're friends with on Instagram or Twitter will see you come in, and they can greenlight you, and you're just in. It'll say, you know, like Dan Lenard is trying to get into Clubhouse, and I'll just click him and he's in. So it's a great space. I think they just hit 6 million users, and it's still testing in beta. And just last week, the valuation of Clubhouse is now over $1 billion. So it's the next space to be in.
Nice. Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing that, Randy.
Oh,
That's
good.
great.
Cherie says she's going to give the team a full guided tour. Do it. It's so great.
Yeah.
Yes, Clubhouse drop-in audio, Deborah. So if you are following me, for example, on Instagram, Randy Thomas VO, I'll see you when you come into Clubhouse, and I'll greenlight you.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I would get a message that would say, so-and-so is trying to come into Clubhouse.
Welcome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. We'll stay for a couple minutes after. Randy and Dan, thank you again, and we'll see you next month.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hello. Great to see everyone.
Bye, Dan. Take care.
Always a pleasure.